I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Ronan Leonard. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful, what is in my time night?
It's 11 o'clock here in Australia. I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking.
11 a.m., right?
Yes.
But that's beautiful. You are in my future. Please do tell me which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history.
Well, this is down to the magic of Skype. Like I said, I'm ahead of you in the world, but Skype is making this future possible.
Love it. So tell me a bit of what you do, my friend.
I'm all about the power of masterminds. If you've ever read the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, one of his key phrases in there is talking about masterminds. And basically the concept is that when two or more minds come together, they create this third supermind, which is better than the sum of the two of them. So I connect people into mastermind groups, but I also teach niche experts and niche leaders how to add a mastermind to their program so they get closer to their audience and they teach what they know. So that's what I do.
That's wonderful. Where's the best place for someone to connect with you?
One of the best places, I'm not on that many social media platforms. LinkedIn, I do enjoy because it's not full of cat videos and crazy adverts. So LinkedIn, I'm Ronan Leonard, the mastermind guy on LinkedIn.
That's wonderful. How much have you seen the value of offline to online conversations? Have you seen a difference in them?
Online conversations, certainly when it's text-based only, it's very hard to get the nuances and the understanding. People can interpret things completely the wrong way. And so we lose a lot of meaning in text only. That even includes blogs as well. I find that you can write a great blog post where you're sharing information and people still don't quite get the context to the content. So for me, personal conversations, whether it's face-to-face or at least the voice where you can hear them, and even better if you've got a video, you can see them, they trump text-based every single time.
Where did you learn the skill of listening, my friend? It seems as though you are a great listener. If I could place my bet, where did you learn that skill from?
Practice, actually. I've learned the hard way by talking too much. So that's one. And a great phrase I've heard for networking events is you've got two ears and one mouth. Use them in that proportion.
That's great. Why will you continue to be that person that actively listens now more than you speak?
Yeah, it's definitely a skill set and it's definitely a little bit of self-reflection. If you've been to an event like a networking event or some kind of social event and you haven't learned something new, it's probably a reflection that you've been talking too much.
I love that. Oh my gosh, it's Frank. Well, my friend, tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
I've meditated every single day for the last 3 years.
How does that make you feel?
Calm, collected. It's one of those things that we tell ourselves lies all the time. I don't have time for this is a big one. What we're ostensibly saying is, I don't value that enough to stop doing something else. Because each day that we're alive, we get another 24 hours. How we use them, for the most part, is entirely up to us.
Now tell me a bit more about e-countability. When I saw that, I was like, ooh, I love the name of that, e-countability.
It's a bit of an ironic name. So it's based around accountability, but online for E. And the strange thing about accountability is that we all want it in other people, but not ourselves. So it's a bit of a paradox. It's a bit of a conundrum as well, that one of the hardest things that we struggle to do as small business owners or just people in general is sticking to our commitments. And what I found is that having some kind of accountability partner or some kind of help with that is often the difference between you starting something and completing it and giving up just because it's too hard.
Most definitely. Well, my friend, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful warm blue Caribbean water. Ronan, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory is being scared of our cellar. I dropped my little plastic bike down there and I was too scared to go down there. And I can't remember whether my parents had told me there was something bad down there, or just as a child, you have that imagination where you think the world's a scary place. But I thought all sorts of demons lived down in that cellar. So that's one of my very earliest memories.
How old do you think you were?
I was about 4 years old.
Why do you think that memory is so clear?
I don't know. It's just always stuck with me as when I grew up. Because I moved house a couple of years later, and then the cellar was gone. But it's the one thing I remember from that time, from that early childhood, and I don't know why.
This is a wine cellar, yeah?
No, it's just a basic cellar. I wish it was a wine cellar. Might have helped me.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
I like to feel that I've overcome a lot of that scared mentality. I've done a lot of sort of crazy things in my life since then. Bungee jumped. I worked on a cruise ship that sunk. I've been in an airplane that dropped out of the sky.
Oh my. Let's back up for a bit. You said you were on a cruise ship that sunk. What happened there?
That's correct. Well, I was 23 years old. I just got this job on cruise ships. And within 8 weeks, we were off the coast of South Africa, the wild coast, and the ship suddenly took on water. The lights went out and we started sinking. There was 600 of us on board.
Oh my.
And the ship sank.
Oh my. What was that like? Oh my.
So the interesting thing is that I actually had a lot of fun. I got a lot of stories that I tell afterwards, a lot of anecdotes. I've been telling at birthday parties for years. But even at the time, I didn't panic. And there was one moment where I thought I was going to die. But for the vast majority of it, I actually enjoyed it. And it sounds perverse, and I can say that because luckily everyone survived. But it was just a really surreal experience.
That's intriguing. And the plane?
The plane, oh yeah, I was flying from Miami to San Juan, and we'd hit this air pocket, and we dropped, and we really dropped. People hit the roof. We spent about 30 seconds then just plummeting to the ground, and there's a lot of Puerto Ricans, Spanish speaking. They were praying to their God in Spanish. And then we leveled out, luckily enough. But it took me probably about a decade or so after that to get comfortable around flying again.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Well, I mean, like, it's fascinating, though. In each situation, it's like, for me, the interpretation of the thought picture you created in my mind was how necessary it is to continue doing things in spite of fear. And who you have around you, just like the mastermind, is definitely either something that creates the platform for or against you going forward.
Absolutely. All our goals and all our desires on the other side of our fears. So our fears, if your desire is strong enough, you'll push past that fear. If it isn't, you'll let fear rule you and say, well, I don't think I can do that, or that's not for me, or that's not possible. So it's a true thing. And sometimes you can do that on your own, and sometimes having a coach or a mentor or somebody else that says you can do this. I believe in you. And that's often the difference between you succeeding or not trying.
Beautifully said. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Favorite song at 12? At that stage, it would have been a lot of ska reggae. You're obviously from the Caribbean.
Right.
Very popular in the UK. A lot of the sort of ska reggae, Madness, and a couple of those groups that it was a really interesting infusion of the original reggae, ska, and just brought up to date for groups like the Specials. So that's what I was listening to at that age.
That's wonderful. Do you remember one song?
Too many, many from the Specials. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but
you're good. It's
plenty.
reggae. It's a lot. Great quality. Yeah, I understand. I live in Trinidad. Yeah, man. All right, well, Ronan, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. Are you ready?
Yes.
Ronan, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I haven't yet, although I believe I'm passing them on in some way in the mastermind groups.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
No.
Do you believe in God?
No.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
More than 8.
Ronan, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Ronan Leonard, what would you say that is?
I would say that it was find your inner genius. A lot of people don't ever find what they're really good at. And as a result, they go through life pretty unhappy. So if you haven't found it yet, spend some time and actually look for it. Dig deep into yourself and find out what your unique ability is and why you're here.
Love it. Ronan Leonard, well, this was a great pleasure. Thank you, my friend, for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Angel, thank you for having me on the show.
You are welcome. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.